Hey guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guy. Thanks very much for joining me today. Sorry that I haven't had any content out in a while. Unfortunately, we've had a little bit of a setback with Amelia, and we've just been dealing with that. As you can see here, I've got a review of the Winsor & Newton pigment markers. Now, I have these as part of a giveaway as well, the whole 36 set. I have two of these sets. And I'll have a link for that giveaway down below if you haven't already gone across and entered into it. But I've wanted to try the Winsor & Newton pigment markers for such a long time now, and I've never really got round to doing it. And I've always known that they were different than your standard alcohol markers, whether it be brush tip or bullet nib or chisel nib. The contents of the marker is different from the alcohol ink based markers that most of us are pretty much used to. And so that also brings up the issue of paper and the different type of paper that you could use. Normally with alcohol markers you can use things like Bristol board or something smooth surface, sometimes mixed media paper, that type of paper. But with these pens, it's really weird how these pens behave, how they react, and in my opinion, I think that they are best suited for the type of artist who enjoys doing like impressionistic type art, really kind of like loose, free-flowing art, as opposed to like whenever I do my fan art, it's all detailed and it's kind of like controlled. I think a lot of, when I was doing a little bit of research for these, I seen a lot of fashion designers, people who are doing like fashion design artwork. These pens work really well for them because of the loose, free-flowing style that they were able to get with them. And so I'm going to show you now what I mean by how these pens work. So this is, like I said, this is the 36 set. There are 84 colors in total. You can get sets of 6. They have a nice selection of greys as well, which you can purchase in the sets of 6. They have 6 warm greys, 6 tone greys, and 6 cool greys, and then obviously they have the black. But the selection of colors in this 36 set are actually really quite nice. Some of the colors that are in here are also in the little 6 sets. Like for example, the skin tone set that you could buy. 1 or 2 of the colors in that 6 set are also in here as well. So, but I have all that information over on the written review if you want to go across and take a look at it. So let's take a look at the actual markers and the set itself. So as you can see here, this 36 set opens out, and the markers themselves are in these plastic grey trays that connect to each other, a little bit like the Spectrum Noir trays that you can buy, the marker storage sets that you can buy. So it's really nice that this 36 set comes with these plastic trays already in. So, but the only issue I have with that is that although this is really nice, I can't find anywhere where you can buy these trays separately. So in other words, if you wanted to get the entire collection, the entire 84 collection, and perhaps maybe keep them in the same stacking system, I'm not too sure how you could go about doing that. I've had a look and I can't find them anywhere. Of course, you do have the option of just taking them out, getting rid of this the stacking system that's in here, and just putting them into your own. Either way, it's entirely up to you as an individual. So let's take a look at the markers themselves. So they are this kind of like really slick design. They feel beautiful in the hand when you're using them. On one end they have a chisel tip, and on that particular end the cap also has a round sticker which indicates the number of the pigment. On the opposite side we have a very fine bullet nib for detail, and again the lid on that side has nothing, so there is a slight indication as to what side you're going to open up on. Running down the actual barrel of the marker, so we have here the Winsor & Newton Pigment marker logo, and then we have this intermittent ring all the way around the barrel which just indicates the pigment color. Now, as with so many things in the art world, these indicators don't always match up with the actual pigment, but that's just something that we all have got used to over time, and the best thing to do is create your own swatch. That way you will know exactly what the mark is going to look like on the paper. Further on down here we have the pigment name, and it's in three different languages there. On over the other side of the barrel we have the Lightfast information. Now this is what makes these pens really unique, and that is that the ink or the paint, whatever it is inside, is Lightfast, and so you can, whatever you create with these, Winsor & Newton guarantee that these will be Lightfast for 100+ years, which is excellent. I said when I first got these, I put an Instagram post out, just a photograph of them, and I had said in that post that these were the only Lightfast markers out there, and I was wrong, because of course the Faber-Castell Pitt pens are also Lightfast, but they are a different type of ink, and they're pens as well. Which brings me on to the next point. I don't think calling these markers is a good idea. And the reason why is because I think a lot of people that would go out and purchase these would expect them to be just like the alcohol-based markers that we all use. But they're not. So I don't know whether maybe something like I've really no idea, but I just think marker is a little bit misleading, and I don't mean that Winsor & Newton have done that on purpose. I just think that the type of pens these are, and I'll show you this now in a second, could get people purchasing this set and it not being what they're expecting. So, okay, so as I mentioned, the paper is a big factor into how you can use these. Now, Winsor & Newton have a paper that is specific for these pigment markers. I haven't used that. I didn't buy that. I was recommended this paper by another very good friend of mine here on YouTube, Jen, and she recommended, she said, get this Yopo paper, and this is done by Frisks. Now, I use Frisks Bristol board as well. I think they're a great company. The products that they make, the paper that they make is really good. I've used it, very, very inexpensive as well. So I purchased this. Now, it's not a pad. This paper doesn't come in a pad. It's kind of like individual sheets. The GSM is 85 GSM. There's 10 sheets that come in this specific pack. These are A4, and it just says here, Frisks Art and Craft Materials. This smooth surface synthetic paper is ideal for use with alcohol inks, mixed media, watercolors and acrylics. Wipe to reveal the white surface, scratch when dry, blend and merge color. Now I'm going to show you as well how alcohol markers behave on this paper, and I personally don't like the results, But again, that's a personal, that's a very much a personal opinion. And like I said at the beginning of this, this paper allows the artist to be a lot more loose, a lot more impressionistic, and that's just not my personal style whenever I'm using markers. So this is the swatch of the 36 that I have here, and this is the 36 that I'll be giving away also. So you can see here, nice range of yellows, reds, magentas, purples, blues, greens, really nice greens, and then some flesh tones here as well, and then we've got a few greys here at the bottom. So a nice palette overall with 36. Now, because of the pens, you can do a lot of mixing and blending, and these pens, there is definitely a learning curve using these pens if you're used to alcohol markers, but we'll get into that in a second. Now, I haven't done a speed drawing of this, but as you can see, I've done, I have a pad of paper which I purchased to review because I originally thought that it was like Bristol board type paper, and it's just like a small journal type book, and I thought that it would be ideal for alcohol markers, but it turned out that it wasn't, and it's more along the lines of this type of paper, this kind of like really sheeny soft paper, and so I was able to do this drawing on that pad. You can see it's not very good. It's not what I'm used to. I personally found these markers difficult to control, difficult to behave in the way I wanted them to behave. But I think that had more to do with the fact that I'm not that type of artist that is loose and free and impressionistic. I think it was more to do with my restraints on my vision of what I wanted to do, and I was kind of like stuck still in that alcohol based marker setup. So I've got a couple of colors here, and I'm just going to do basically what I did on the drawing. So you can see here, and I'll zoom in for this bit. Okay, so I've got a few yellows here, a few light yellows, and I'm just going to do kind of like a sunset. What I've done in the drawing, because I wasn't really able to think of anything. Now you can see there it's a little bit streaky, and then you come in with your next color. You can see there it's a little bit paint-like. And then you go up with your lighter and then just try to blend it in. But you can see there it's a little bit like watercolor in the way that it mixes about. You can use your finger. You can kind of like use your finger to smudge and move the ink about, and as you do that, it kind of like dries under your skin. The only issue I find with this is sometimes obviously the marks on your fingers that are there for fingerprinting and stuff like that, they can show up here as well. So I'll try a couple of blues here as well, show you what they look like. There's no doubt about it, the colors are beautiful. So just going to start dark. I think there you can get to see it a little bit better. And like I say, that these pens would be perfect for things like landscapes, seascapes, those types of things. Now, the only thing that I found with these being a bit of a problem is that when you kind of go in with them and you mix them, especially with your lighter colors, it's really important that you kind of like wipe off the darker the darker bit here that you have on your it's really important that you clean off your chisel nib, get that darker bit off, otherwise it's it'll just stay there. And so it's always good to have a little piece set aside. But you can see the way it's drying here as well. But the colors are bright and vibrant, and allow the artist to be able to create, mix and match lots of different colors. So again, if you wanted to do a little bit of mixing, you could put your yellow down, come in with your blue, and then you're going to get your nice green. So in terms of mixing and blending, absolutely fantastic. There's no problems with it at all. You can create lots and lots of different colors with this. Always remembering but to remove the color. You can see there. So this is a blue marker, and this is the only issue I have. So it can take a long time to get it clean again, to get it right back down to the color that you have, and in the process of doing so, you are wasting a lot of the pigment. So if we take a look at this paper and how other markers react to it, like on ordinary alcohol markers. So I've got a Copic marker here. We get the brush tip. With that, you can see again, it's really difficult to get any sort of control with it. I've got an Art and Fly marker here as well. And then the bullet nib of an Arteza one. I personally just think that this paper is too smooth. When you use like a Bristol board, there's a little bit of absorbance there, not too much. It allows you to do your blending, your mixing, but it allows you to do it in a way that's not going to cause any issues. So I've got some ordinary. Sorry, just let me put some pens on here to get some color. So I've got some ordinary Bristol board here. This is Frisk's Bristol board, and I'm going to show you the difference in how the paper makes a huge difference with these pens. So again, we'll do a little bit of blending. So start off with this yellow. You can see right away there's a huge difference. The pigment doesn't move as freely. It gets absorbed into the paper, and it starts, as soon as you start mixing, it starts bobbling the paper. Now this is just ordinary Bristol board. But you can see the bobbling that or the taking off the paper that occurs there. It's not good. So it is important that with these pens you use the paper that Winsor & Newton have intended, whether it is the Winsor & Newton pigment paper or whether it's the paper that I've just showed you here as well. So just laying down a color on its own, just let me zoom back out. Laying down some color on its own is fine, but it's when it comes to blending or trying to create a gradient or something like that, that's when the issues start happening if you use paper like this Bristol board. So I'm really kind of I'm really kind of thrown by these markers. They're beautiful to hold in the hand. The pigments in them are gorgeous. The idea that they are Lightfast is also fantastic. I've seen a lot of people do art with them, and the art that they have produced is gorgeous. But like I say, it's very loose, free, impressionistic type art. And that's just not the type of art. It's a type of art I enjoy looking at and watching other people do, but it's just not the type of art that I enjoy doing myself. I think what I'm trying to achieve whenever I'm drawing is to try and achieve a little bit of realism or a little bit of detail and that type of thing. So for me personally, these pens are not for me, but I do think that there are a lot of people out there that really love these pens. These pens give them a new way of doing their art because they're a pen. Ordinarily, artists are gonna have to use watercolors or acrylics to be able to get that loose, free, impressionistic style. With these markers, they're going to be able to do that, and especially with this, the paper that I've already shown you as well. So another thing that I need to show you as well is the blending pen that comes with them and the white pen also. So this ink now will have dried. We're back onto the paper, and we have here the white pen. Now this is proper white pigment, so it's not like they call it a blender, a white blender, but you can, maybe it's not dry enough there, but you can create a little bit of white with this, and it'll pull down the color. But again, when the nib does carry over a lot of the pigment, and so you need to make sure that you clean it off before you move on to the next thing. The actual proper blender pen that comes with them, which is just non-pigmented, it works very well with them, especially on this type of paper. It just seems that it doesn't really affect the ink. The ink doesn't really dry on it as such. You couldn't come back 10 or 15 minutes later once you'd done a drawing on sort of like Bristol board with a blender pen and blend the pigment. It just wouldn't happen. It would be absorbed into the paper far too heavily for you to be able to create that. So I guess this gives you a lot more time to work, to blend, to create your gradients, that type of thing with the markers, which is another bonus. Just to show you the white marker, I've just got some black paper here from Winsor & Newton, and I've got this white pen. Now obviously you wouldn't use this paper ordinarily for it because it's just too absorbent, but it gives me the chance to show you that this is actually a white marker pen. I don't think there's any other type of markers that have a white pen. It'd be excellent if they did, like if marker companies, but I'm guessing that the alcohol markers can't produce white. The white pigment or something, otherwise I'm sure they would have done it by now. There must be some reason why the likes of Copic or any of these other companies haven't produced a white marker pen. So you can see there how vibrant and how pigmented the white pen actually is, but once again, that's on in fact, this paper isn't even Bristol board. This paper is more kind of like a vellum surface, and so it's just not right for these pens. You couldn't really do anything else for it. Like I say, I just used this paper to show you the pigment. The pigment of the white marker pen. When I'm using my alcohol markers, I personally don't use any blender pens. I use lighter colors or darker colors within the markers to blend the colors together. But I know there are a lot of marker artists out there that do use the blender pens, and if you're that type of artist as well, I think these markers would really appeal to you as well, because the type of paper that you use, you've just seen me there, I was able to set that paper aside, do a little demonstration on something else, and then come back to it and still move that pigment around with the blender pen. I think for artists that do use that style, I think these markers would be really beneficial to them as well. So I think that's it, guys, for my review here of the Winsor & Newton pigment markers. A lot of pros for these pens. They are gorgeous. They're very different from, obviously, alcohol markers like the Winsor & Newton Pro markers and their brush markers. Very different from those, but they stand alone on their own. They are very much a unique marker. I personally think that they are best suited to artists who love doing impressionistic type art, very, very loose and free art. When you watch a fashion designer create like those beautiful pieces of art of, say, like a dress or a suit that they have envisaged, I think these pens work well with that type of art as well. And the reason why I say that is because when I was doing research for them, I had watched a lot of artists use the pens in that capacity. So that's it, guys. If you've got any questions about these markers, please by all means leave them down in the comments section. I do have a written review as well of them, and I'll have a little bit more information over there. I'll go into a little bit more detail about the type of pigment that's inside them, because it's not alcohol. Alcohol ink. It is different. So I'll have a little bit of information over on the written review about that. Also the prices and the links to where you can buy these pens if you wanted to. Also as well, the pens, you can purchase these pens open stock, which is excellent as well. So there's so many things going for them, but they're just not the type of pens that I can use. Hence the reason why I haven't done a speed drawing with them. The drawing that I produced was just pretty terrible, actually. So that's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Bye.